Welcome in this beautiful modern building, and today we're going to try to explain my three-step process of using off-camera flash. This is Stephani. She is, how old are you?
14 years old.
14 years old and incredibly talented. She's been using my old X-Pro1 and has been doing amazing stuff with it, and she now wants to learn how to use off-camera flash, so we might as well make a video about it. This is Maud, and she is almost 19 years old tomorrow. Happy birthday already, Maud. And she is going to be our model for today. So let's get started with the first step. And cut! So, very important, step one. And step one is controlling the ambient light. The first thing I'm doing when I'm on a location is to look for what ambient light that I can use. Sometimes this can be the main light, background light, whatever. But it's the thing that we can control the least. So it's the first thing we have to look at. And I'm looking over there and I see all these windows, which might be a nice background. So I'm going to try to set my camera so I can use these windows as my background. So controlling the ambient light is done with your camera settings. So the flash is still off and I'm just going to try which kind of light do I need to get the background the way I want. And this is not about having the correct exposure according to the automatic exposure meter. No, this is how you want it. The only restriction I'm putting on myself is to stay within my maximum sync speed. With this camera, that's 1/250th of a second. So let's take a couple of test shots and see what kind of exposure do I need. So still step one. So when I look at my images, I am at ISO 800, I'm at 1/250th of a second, my maximum sync speed, and I'm at f2, and then I get a pretty good idea about the light in the background the way that I want it. And you have to make sure that you have it exactly the way you want it before you proceed to step two. But for me, this is okay now, so I'm going to go on and move on to step two. So I'll have to place my subject Maud in the right position and see what we can do. So follow me. Maud, can you stand here? Okay, so just look at me. We are not yet taking pictures, and I always make it very clear to my models when I'm still setting up, so they don't need to pose, they don't need to spend any energy posing. I want to use that energy for the actual shoot, not for setting up. So I'm taking a quick test shot. I'm getting the background pretty much the way that I want it to. But Maud is completely underexposed because she's in a darker part of this place. But at this point, when I'm setting up step one, ambient light, that is not a problem yet. That's something that I will start solving right now with the flash. So we are using a simple manual speed light with an umbrella to take care of the light on Maud. So I'm going to place it probably here. It's always good to have one of the legs of the tripod pointing to your model. In that case, it can never fall onto your model. So the thing that I'm doing is I always use these things on pure manual. Camera is in manual, flash is in pure manual. It takes a bit of time to set up, but once it's set up, you don't have to worry about it anymore. If you are shooting TTL, then you never know exactly what your exposure is going to be. If you zoom out, zoom in, move a bit, then the light can change. So in this case, I'm using manual almost always. When I'm shooting off-camera flash, I go for manual. I'm not sure at what power setting the flash is right now. Let's start somewhere in the middle at 1/16th of the power. And just take a test shot. I'm not measuring anything, I'm just going by what I see on my screen. That is too much. So I'm going to dial it down a bit. And that gives me pretty much the right amount of light. I'm just going to move it slightly. Yeah, another test shot. That is pretty much the way I want it. And it's important to take your time to set up. And a lot of photographers are trying to go too fast. Now in this case there's no need. I made it very clear to Maud, like I'm still setting up. If she still wants to wear her jacket, she can, so she doesn't get cold. And I don't have to worry about anything but my lighting setup. And it's only in the next step, that is step 3, is to actually start taking pictures. And that is a step that a lot of photographers forget, because they're so happy that their light is at the right levels that they forget to actually photograph. But the thing is, if I done step 1 and step 2 correctly, I don't have to look at my screen anymore. I don't have to look at my settings anymore, and I can just focus completely on the posing, the expressions, and relating to my subject. So let's move on to step 3 and actually take some photographs. So now it's for real. Yeah. Move a bit like this. Turn your head that way, just your head. Okay. Okay, now you can look straight in the camera. Okay, thank you. I also try to do what I call micro shoots or mini shoots, which means that I will be shooting for a minute, 2 minutes, until I run out of ideas, until I run out of poses. And then I take some time to look at my images, adjust, see what works, what doesn't work, and then take another mini shoot. But let's take a look at our images and see how we can go from there. So we have a very typical problem that most of us have. At a certain moment you get out of ideas, you don't have any ideas anymore, and then you start getting nervous because you cannot think of an idea. Maud starts getting nervous because she's thinking, what a nervous photographer. So you get into a problem there. It is not a problem if you just finish your micro shoot at that point. If you say like, okay, I'm going to take a look at my images, and I'm going to see what we can make even better. There's a big difference in saying to a model, we're going to look at the images and see how we can make you look better, or how we can make you look even better. So tell her like, okay, let me take a look at the images and see what we can do. And then you give yourself a break and you give her a break. She can put her jacket back on, get a bit warmer, while you can think about what you can get out of this same setup even more. Yeah. So take your time to look at your images, and then you can go from there. But it is allowing yourself the break and the model to have a break, and it makes it much easier. And every time I feel like I run out of ideas, if you shoot for a minute, that's enough. Take a bit of time, look at what can I make even better. If she's not looking at you, it's going to be a lot easier to figure out the next pose. No. It's important, once you have a setup that works, not to stop too early, too quickly, but try to get the most out of your setup. You've made it, you did all the effort of setting your ambient light settings, your flash settings. Then it's important to keep shooting and try different things. You can try different lens, different poses, different composition, horizontal, vertical. There's so many options, and it's always worth to try to evolve the shot, to make the shot evolve until you get the feeling like, now I've done everything that works. So we're going to do a couple more. Very good. Okay, thank you. Stay there. One thing I always do, or usually, is to, when I have something that works, I try to not go for like a completely different setup, but I try to change things slightly. And what I like very much, I saw this image where she's looking this way, and I have a pretty wide shot, but what I want to do now is to backlight it more. So, as long as you keep the distance between the flash and your subject the same, it still gets the same amount of light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move like in a circle to keep pretty much the same distance. Put the flash over here. Stephani, you can hold it again. Take a quick test shot. And you don't have to compose your shot for a test shot, just, you know, very quickly. That's it. Come on, let's move. Beautiful. Great. You can turn a bit more towards me. But keep it moving, keep the face moving. Okay, thank you. So again, I run out of ideas, so I went for a little break. So to wrap this up, it's very important that you take the different steps and not trying to mix things together. Step 1 is controlling your ambient light. That's the thing that is the hardest to control unless we set it with our camera settings. Once you're happy with the amount of ambient light you have in your picture, you start step 2, setting up the flash, getting the power right, getting the position right, and only if everything is right, you move on to actually shooting, which is step 3. But don't forget to shoot, because a lot of people, once they work so hard on their setup that they forget to actually shoot. Especially men have that problem. Female photographers seem to be doing a lot better at that. But I hope this makes your flash photography a bit easier. I will definitely come back with more videos about flash very soon. Thanks for watching and thanks for being in my pictures. And Laurent, thank you for filming this.